Welcome back to the Future Ritual. Today we are going to watch and listen to an interview with Jim Penniston. He was one of the fellows involved in the Rendlesham Forest UFO incident. This video was originally produced by the Sci-Fi Channel, I believe, and then uploaded by Eyes on Cinema recently. And it's a great short interview, and I think it's worth taking a look at. Whoops. There I am. Hello. All right, let's play the video.
Here's exactly what I was thinking. I'm going out there with my mindset was like this. I'm going to go out and set up an entry control point for a downed aircraft, a crashed. We're going to go ahead and tag classified material and body parts. That's what I'm thinking. And then we're going to set up the entry control point so we can get emergency response vehicles out there. When I got up to the area where I seen it wasn't an aircraft crash, and it was something that I couldn't identify, I was perplexed, not understanding what I was seeing. I hadn't been trained for anything even close to that, you know. So here's the gear adjustments that were switching were just crazy. I went from crash and recovery thoughts to I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know what is in front of me. I'm confused.
So, right off the bat, I think that's super fascinating that he shares that point where he believes he knows exactly what he's getting himself into, what to expect, and then he's hit with something he has never seen before and is trying to recalibrate himself.
And this is not a comfortable situation for a security supervisor. You're confused, you're not sure what you're doing, not sure what to do. And that's the feeling I was getting. Of course, I am talking back and forth with my teammates, and we're coming back with the same type of confusion. We're not sure what's going on in front of us. The craft was a triangular craft. It was black in color, very shiny. It was metal, but it was smooth as glass. Inside the fabric of this triangular craft, there was light movement of red.
So it's also interesting that he describes the outsider skin of the craft as being fabric-like, but also smooth and appearing like glass. I've heard or read other experiencers of unusual aircraft as being having the skin sort of like scales or reptile. I don't want to say reptile because then that really then we get into David Icke and all that. Scale-like. So this fabric-like description is interesting, at least to me.
Running through the fabric of it. I had pasted off, and it measured 9 feet by 9 feet by 9 feet. It was approximately, based on my height, I'm 6'2", so I estimated it at
He's a tall fella.
7 feet tall. It was very small for aircraft. It had one of the things that I was looking at initially was I was looking for obvious things that aircraft have, looking for landing gear, looking for intake, looking for exhaust, looking for crew compartment, looking for windows. It was void of all those. That's where the confusion comes in at.
So to me, based on that description, it sounds like a drone-like aircraft from who knows where. Yeah, let's just keep going.
I came back around to the right side of it. When I seen those glyphs, I seen that there's some writing up there, so I felt pretty comfortable at that moment because I said, okay, it's going to say United States Air Force prototype something like that. It's going to say NASA on it. And then, of course, I seen something that I hadn't seen before.
The glyphs that Penniston mentions are symbols that were etched into the side of the craft. Penniston sketched these symbols in a notebook, but their meaning is a mystery. As Penniston and his team approached the craft, they began feeling unusual sensations.
The immediate area around the craft, we noticed physical changes. We noticed that the sound was different. For example, the lack of sound around it was like a deadening sound. We were hearing animals before we got within like 10 feet. And then once we got within this area right around the craft, it went silent. Then we started feeling static electricity on our skin, and our hair, and our clothes. One of the unusual effects is that once we entered this immediate area around the craft, it felt like everything went in slow motion. It felt like there was a dragging of time. We did have, discrepancies on our watches after we left the area of 45 minutes. And what appeared to be us just examining the craft for 5 or 10 minutes actually was over a couple hours out there. So we did lose track of some time. We do know that we did have adrenaline going. We do understand that that can affect the way things are perceived, but it was just too much. 2 hours is a long time to write off for adrenaline.
Penniston knew that he had to be careful when reporting this incident.
In my report, the term craft of unknown origin, I was not going to, in any way, shape, or form, use the term UFO in there. I used a military term. I couldn't determine the origin, and I let somebody else figure that out. I figured, okay, my job is to gather the facts, which I did. And it's above my pay grade, let somebody else figure out what it was.
For sure.
And so that's pretty much how I was.
I do the same.
Also, we had a very real fear of our careers, because we know that this is something that would hurt our careers, reporting this type of phenomenon.
Which seems so wild to me that you would have to be that afraid of losing your career for reporting something, especially something as, bizarre as this that you've never seen before. I don't know, man. It's just, I get it, but I don't get it. Anywho.
It wasn't done.
Penniston does have a theory as to why the craft was there that night.
A feeling I had why that night, and in retrospect, looking back at it, the feeling I had is that it was in trouble. It wasn't supposed to be there. And the other odd thing is that why would it land? Why would it be on the ground that long? Why would it allow it to be examined unless it had to, unless it was repairing itself? And that's a feeling I had then, and I still have.
Maybe it was updating its firmware using our. Oh, never mind. We didn't have. Well, we probably had Wi-Fi back then. Not the public, but. All right, we'll just keep going.
Today, yeah. What kind of technology repairs itself?
That kind of technology.
During his encounter, Penniston describes experiencing confusion, fear, astonishment, and awe. If extraterrestrial intelligence were to reveal itself to human beings, would humanity experience the same emotions?
I think I agree with the human race would probably experience the same type of feelings I had. But I think one of the things that I hadn't mentioned is probably denial. Is one of also the feelings you're feeling. Well, this can't be what I think it could be. I think that's part of what's going on there. And because we're rational people, we want rational answers, especially In that position I was in, I mean, what we had on that base, in those twin bases, largest tactical fighter wing in the United States Air Force.
Penniston has written that the feelings he had during this encounter were unlike any he had ever had before.
It looks like he's
He describes
12.
an unexpected additional emotional state that he experienced.
It felt sort of complete, you know. It felt like it was okay. And then when it took off, there was an absence of that feeling.
Oh, so the absence of feeling complete when it leaves. That sounds kind of frightening to me. And also he brings up the like denial. Like I think most people put in this scenario, seeing something so unbelievable, they would definitely have to battle some denial. I think even myself, I would question a lot of things at that point.
After about 45 minutes, the colors on the craft became more agitated as they once again became an intense white color.
And then it started getting brighter and brighter, and now we're squinting, and all I could see is a white light. But it was still not as bad as when we first came up to the craft, because this still could take off and go up to about, treetop level, and then, and I could still see the silhouette of the, triangular craft. But when I initially approached it, it was just too bright.
Description of what was going on was larger white light glowing. Approximately 10-15 meters from it, it was quite distinguishable. It was triangular in shape. It was not an aircraft, but it was a craft of some sort. Certain things didn't make sense. I couldn't determine the front. That was the problem. Second, it seemed running, but no sound. Third was the aspect of having electricity in the air. I could feel it in my clothing, my hair, my skin.
Calling T. Townsend Brown. Calling T. Townsend Brown.
The next one is after I got up close to the craft. The writing changes. It changes from being written confidently to shaky. Gotta stop there.
Man, I feel for this guy. He seems genuinely shook up. Having a bunch of repressed memories flood back.
Anything I could see, I would go ahead and write down. Structure of craft. Fabric. Black. Smooth. Glass-like. Surface unknown. Identity unknown. I paced off the size of the craft, taking notes on the distance.
Current status. Shitting pants.
Size. 9 feet long. Approximately 7 to 8 feet high. I couldn't tell what was the front or the back. I had trouble when I was walking around the craft to distinguish engines. Propulsion, unknown. No sound, but apparently operating somehow. Type of aircraft, unknown. I made extra effort to look for the crew compartment or windows or anything like that, or access ports. Could not see any. There was no handles or anything like that. The craft was completely smooth on the outside.
I strongly suspect that it was a drone-like aircraft, and I hesitate using the word drone because then it's associated with consumer drones or hobby drones. But I think this was probably, this is all speculation, it was most likely not piloted by something biological. It was, I would assume it's some sort of artificial intelligence or whatever the next thing is, or whatever created it calls it.
Skin fabric of craft, warm. Probably the most startling part of it was the fabric of the craft. Aircraft are metal, and this was maybe metal, but it was very smooth. The fabric seemed like black glass. High electric static on clothes, skin, hair. Identifying markings on left front. That is probably the most compelling thing that said, well, my God, this is from someplace else. Symbols etched or engraved, question mark. Symbols recorded. All I know is I was out there that first night. I know I completed one of the best investigations of my entire military career. This thing wasn't lights in the sky. This was an object, a craft that had landed. I examined it. I walked around it. I felt it. This is an actual event that happened. It doesn't matter what they say. I was there. They weren't. Liftoff, 2:45. No sound. No exhaust. Takeoff unknown. Speed impossible. The takeoff was probably the most amazing thing I've ever seen. With absolutely no sound. It just lifted up maybe 2 or 3 feet, and it did a little bit of maneuvering back in the trees. Momentarily hovered, then in a blink of an eye, it left. Literally a blink of an eye.
So, there's his account of what happened. I will leave a link to that video in the video description. And if you haven't been to Eyes on Cinema, that YouTube channel, highly, highly recommend visiting and subscribing. There's a wealth of videos just like this on that channel. And I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. God damn it. I forgot to unmute the microphone.